Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. You are about to watch me struggle. I can't even get this loop thread punch needle thing out of the package without struggling. This was definitely a project that tested my patience, that tested my ability to punch needle. I've never done this before. So this was a new adventure, that's for sure. I do apologize for the loudness of the background. It is hot here in Utah, and so the swamp cooler is going, and it is going on high in the hopes of trying to keep things as cool as possible. So I picked up this little kit at Michael's. I have a bigger one that I bought when I was feeling more ambitious. And then as I was getting ready to do the bigger project, I realized that it didn't come with a punch needle and that you had to buy it separately. So I went to Michael's again and decided to start a little bit smaller. So I thought, hey, this sloth looks cute. I will give it a try. And give it a try I did. And oh, you guys, every time I look at it, I just burst out laughing. It turns out so bad. I mean, the majority of it turns out okay. But the face, oh, you can't even tell it's a face. It just looks like I bungled it. It looks so bad. So I bet you just can't wait to see that. Anyways, I figured out how to use the punch needle, how to thread the punch needle. And here I am, fast reading, speed reading through the instructions. Just kidding. I'm not really speed reading through it. It's 5 times the, what's it called? I uploaded it at 5 times the speed. So I start out pretty confident. And I do a pretty good job, and it's easy to do a pretty good job when it's just a few stitches in. But the further in you get, the harder it is to see, especially because there's a lot of long threads that I could have trimmed down if I were smart enough to trim it down. And now that I have done this project, I know to trim it down. And then see, look at me go. Like at the first I'm like so confident, and I'm like, oh look, I can get this done in no time. This is gonna be so easy peasy. But it really wasn't easy peasy at all, especially the further into it I got. And it was frustrating because every time I would start to get the hang of it and just feel like I'm just going swimmingly along, then the embroidery floss would run out and I'd have to rethread it, and then I'd have to start all over again, and it just never seemed to flow as easily once I started that next part. Even though it looks like I'm going beautifully, it's really not. And you'll see if you can catch it as I turn it over. It gets really patchy. There are just huge chunks that I miss. There are huge sections that I somehow skip over, and I couldn't tell you how I managed to skip over it because it felt like I was going teeny tiny little bits at a time. The instructions say to punch it every 1/16 of an inch. I don't know, I didn't exactly get out my ruler, but I thought, okay, that means punch it pretty close too. So that's what I did, and yet I still managed to mess it up. It was just sad. So I got really good at doing this whole, okay, maybe not when you're watching now, but I got pretty good at threading the punch needle. See, you can already tell things are getting a little patchy. But I kept trying. So I went back and I gave it the old college try and tried to fill in here and there. But it's hard once you got, and I don't know if it was, I didn't complete that sentence. It got hard as you got into it because there was so much thread to work around. And I don't know if there's an easier way of doing it. Like sometimes when I would punch the needle and then move to the next part, it would be fairly smooth. It was almost like I had done an embroidery stitch. And then other times there were giant loops, and it was just never a smooth process. It was always something. Oh, could you see that? Oh, I saw that. That was a pretty big gap. But I just kept plugging along, and look at me go. I mean, it looks like I'm so confident in this, and I really was. And I think part of what I didn't like was the fact that you're working from behind. You're working on the back of the project, whereas if I had been able to work at the front of the project, I could have seen it better and figured out exactly where I needed to punch, because for whatever reason on the back it looked nice and fluffy and fuzzy and put together, but once you turned it over you just would see all these big giant gaps, and so it was just really, really annoying. So this is where it started getting trickier, because you're working around the head, and it did take me a little while to figure out how to have the needle situated so that it wasn't getting tangled into the embroidery floss. And part of that really is keeping it oriented. I don't know, what's the word? Oriented in such a way that it was facing you, so that you could see what was going on. Anyways, here we go. Continuing around the face, and I was noticing some patchy areas. And so once again, I kept trying to go back. See, sometimes the loops threaded nicely, and sometimes they just, and they kept popping back out. That drove me absolutely nuts. And I know it's all user error, and that's probably why it drove me nuts, was because I knew I was doing something wrong. But it really doesn't come with any sort of instructions. It just says, take this, punch it through the fabric, and that's about it. So that's what I did. Now I'm just about done, except that I forgot to do the tops of the hands. The paws. What do they have? What do sloths have? Do they have hands or paws? They don't really have paws, do they? So anyways, I'm saying that a lot, this. Just trying to fill in here and there where I needed some more. And see, I just keep flipping it over because I'm like, and there's a patch that didn't get done, and there's a patch that didn't get done. Yeah, well. So I forget to do the tops of the paws until after I've done another color. I start on a different color. So that filled it in a little bit and made it look a tiny bit better. But like I said, I was punching through areas that I had already punched, and it was just getting so frustrating. So I was kind of glad when it was time to move to a new color and just try. I see it looks a little bit better. I don't know. It almost looks better from the wrong side than it does from the right side. But that face, oh you guys, I can't wait until you see the face, because it does not look like the cute little face on the bottom left hand side. It really doesn't. Okay, so we're moving to a darker brown now. And that is for the shadowed underarms. And I apologize for any time I get this. I tried to keep it in camera, and I tried to keep it. See, there were so many things to work around. All of those, I should have trimmed that down, and I just didn't. And that's about then that I think I realized that I still had the tops of the hands to do. So I was so frustrated. Oh, can you see how patchy that looks? It just looks so patchy. I know I'm being overly critical, but it really was so frustrating. Especially when I thought I was doing so good. I was getting pretty awesome at threading that needle though. So here's where I go in over the tops of the hands. This was really tricky. It was hard to see. You've got the top of the hand and then you've got the claws that will be done in white. And I really was guessing when I did the claws because I couldn't see a thing with all of that around. But at least I got it done. Alright, next. I think next we move to white. And white, I made a mistake. So when I was looking at the pattern, and the pattern really is just that picture there with a little color code numbers on it. Oh no, I'm going to black. Okay, I'm doing the face first. So I moved to black but then when I did white, I thought that I had to do white on the face, but I didn't, and so I end up removing that later. But black, you got the eyes, you got the dots in the middle of the eyes. There's more than one eye, Larry. I think, oh, I skipped that part because I ended up doing most of it out of focus. Not out of focus, out of frame, so I ended up, you'll just have to wait and see. So now I'm doing the belly. The belly is done in white. So it's just the belly and the claws. And I feel like I did really well on this part. I was kind of getting in a better zone, and I was figuring things out, like how to hold the punch needle better. But white, you know, you can't really tell the difference on that. So it's just like, oh, silly Laurie. So, and then I ended up doing the claws. Oh, and that's mostly out of frame. I am so sorry about that. But anyways, let me turn it over. Can you see that face? Did you see that face? Oh, you'll have to pause it and go back and look at it. Because it's so bad. It's so bad. Okay, so I'm going to do the tree trunk next. The tree trunk went pretty well. That was easy enough. I was finally getting in the groove, and I was figuring out how to hold the thread away so that I could see a little bit better. Sorry, the image of the face keeps popping in my head, and it's just so bad. Anyways, okay, so I start with the middle branch, the middle of the branch. Not that you can tell because my finger's in the way. Laurie, get your finger out of the way. What is up with you? There we go. Now you can kind of see what I'm doing. And by kinda, I mean not really at all. Except I'm just poking the fabric. But that's basically all punch needling is. It's just poking the fabric repeatedly. Someone that I like to follow on Facebook just did a class on, what is it? Rug making, like with the big punch gun, and I can't even imagine doing that with the way that I murdered this thing. I can't imagine doing that to an entire rug. Did you see that? Did you see that face? It really is just like a big black blah. It really is. It just makes me laugh every time I look at it. So the idea of doing an entire rug when I could barely function and do this, it just made me laugh. There's no way. There is no way. So kudos to those of you who can do entire rugs, because that is not my goal. I will not be trying that out anytime soon. And yet those that do it seem to love it. So, let's see. Next is what is next? I thought it was green. Because I think it's just the leaves that I have left. Gotta thread the needle again. Always thread. Yep, it is green. Okay, so we are so close to being done, guys. Here we go. So I work with the dark green first, because I figure the light green will be easy peasy. I said that a lot this time around too. Look at that thing right in the way. Oh, there we go. Now you can kind of see. Get in there. I really tried to get those leaves as compact as possible. So we go and then we switch from that dark green to a light green, and there's just 3 leaves left to do. And then you guys can you guys can make all the comments you want, because I know I know how silly it looks, and I am totally okay with that. Now, there is, am I ever going to try this again? I sure am, because I still bought another package that you'll see in a little bit. See, I got to the point I didn't care. I just strung that string along. That you'll see in a minute, that I am going to give it another go. And I think it'll be easier because it's not intricate. It's this big scenic, like big tree with sky and grass, and it'll be a lot. Here we go. Get ready. That face. Oh, it's terrible. Anyways, so that's what I'm going to do, that tree right there, and we'll see how it comes out. So make it a great week, you guys. Hope I gave you a giggle. Bye-bye.